Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. The Michigan Chronicle recently celebrated the 10th anniversary of its signature event honoring the achievements of African American men. It's called Men of Excellence, and the recipients are recognized for their vision, their leadership, and community service. Joining me now to talk more about the awards are Cathy Nedd, who is the Chief Operating Officer at the Michigan Chronicle, and one of this year's recipients, Shaun Wilson, who is head of Truscott ROSSMAN's Detroit office. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks, Stephen. Glad to be here.
First, congratulations to you on 10 years of Men of Excellence. It is a really cool event. Talk about where the idea came from to do this.
Well, the idea, of course, came from our fearless leader, Hiram Jackson, who's the publisher of the Michigan Chronicle and the CEO of our parent company, Real Times Media. And he just wanted to do a couple of events that actually celebrate African American achievement in our community. The interesting thing is when he first did, we also do Women of Excellence, but when he first did Men of Excellence and Women of Excellence, he picked 50 people. And after that, people said, well, you won't have anybody to celebrate next year.
You're going to run out of people,
We're going to run out of people.
He said that the first year, didn't he?
They said that the first year, and here we are.
So now you're at 500.
We're at 10 years in, and wonderful people like Shaun hadn't even been recognized yet, along with like Councilman Spivey, just a lot of others in our community that was like, oh my God, what happened? How did we miss them? And there are so many more that deserve recognition.
Yeah. I don't have to say this, but I'm going to. African American men don't get enough recognition, and especially some of the folks that you're picking are among the people who they just get overlooked by mainstream awards and recognition.
They do, and it kind of, in a little bit, shows up at the event. When we do Women of Excellence, they usually come with their girlfriends and their coworkers, and it's a whole different kind of event. When we do Men of Excellence, they're with their wives, they're with their children, they're with their moms, and it's just a beautiful thing for their children and their wives to just see them get the recognition that they get. I often tease that when they leave home in the morning, the children just see their dad leaving, and they don't realize what he's going off to do.
What he's doing,
Yes, what he's leading, who he's shepherding, you know, how he's tilling our community and really making it a better place to live and work for all of us.
Yeah. So 500 people over 10 years. I mean, talk about some of the people who have fallen into those ranks.
Well, there's this guy named Stephen Henderson.
I've heard of him.
Who's been a Man of Excellence before. I mean, it's been so many, like Joel Ferguson, who's a huge developer in our community. I knew you were going to do this. You're challenging me to do something.
So remember, it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. Shaun, congratulations to you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. I'm in the club. Huh?
Yeah, right. Now we'll get the handshake.
Right.
Little paraphernalia. Tell me what this means.
This means a lot. I mean, when you look at and I bought a copy of the actual insert in the Michigan Chronicle. When you look at the roster of talented young brothers and what they're doing, and going back to the earlier point that people don't know enough about these folks. It's an honor. It's an honor to be a part of this alumni. It's an honor to be recognized, and it's great to be part of an initiative that's really highlighting something that needs to be highlighted in the community.
Yeah. Talk some about your career here in Detroit and how you've
my winding career. So for the past 2 years, I've been heading up the Detroit office for Truscott ROSSMAN, which is a statewide strategic communications firm with offices in Detroit, Grand Rapids, and Lansing. So it's been a blast. Had a career prior to that in banking and a career prior to that in communications, so I'm back to doing what I think I do best. Cathy may agree or disagree, but it's been great. And one of the reasons why I came to the firm was to get back into Detroit. So I'm back in Detroit. I'm back on the streets, quote unquote, trying to look up hustle business and be successful.
A big part of this is about service and the service that people do in addition to sort of pushing themselves ahead in their careers and achieving. I always feel like that's sort of an obligation in the Black community that you don't see in other communities, that those of us who get to have these experiences and opportunities always feel like, okay, well, it's not good enough just to be here. I really got to look behind me and kick open some doors or hold some open that I opened for other people. And
that seems to be really, really important to African American men. Hiram Jackson, who is the publisher of our newspaper, he's actually now the chairman of Boys and Girls Club, I mean the Boys Club. And that's because he grew up through that.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the African American men have somebody reached down for them, somebody helped them, so they in turn want to do the same thing. One of the people who's getting a special honor tomorrow is Shaun. The other Shaun Wilson.
There are two Shaun Wilsons.
Shaun Wilson, who's at Ford Motor Company. Yeah. And Shaun started Men of Courage in conjunction with the Big Shaun, another Shaun, Big Shaun Foundation, started Men of Courage. And his sole mission was to change the dialogue that happens around African American men. And I think he's done a wonderful job at doing that. Yeah. So he's going to get a special recognition tomorrow, along with Dr. Adams. And oh my God, he has just been an icon in our community, and there's just a really long time, and there's just not enough to say. And even those who may not have put together a program specifically, just the fact that they are icons in our community, they're role models that young men get to look up to and see and say, I can be like him.
Yeah. Well, if I can piggyback, so I looked at most of the men that are featured this year, and none of these guys are guys that go to work and go home and that's it. No community commitment. They all have a serious commitment to the community, whether it's on boards, whether it's starting nonprofits, or some form of engagement where they're giving back. Yeah. And it's great to see that.
Right, right. How are we doing with the sort of getting African American men, more African American men, to the place where they're being honored for things like this, where they are giving back, where we don't maybe have to think so much about recognizing them ourselves, that they're getting other kinds of...
So I'll start. So God bless the Michigan Chronicle and Real Times Media, because we're in a stage in Detroit where most of these guys are overlooked. Yeah. And it's not common to see
and that's, these folks. I still think that's surprising in Detroit.
It is.
You would think that of all places, this wouldn't be as much of an issue.
It is an issue. It's an issue. I don't know how we get beyond this, but I mean, you don't read about these guys in the headlines. You don't see what they're doing in the community. And not to say that what's being read about is wrong, but I think there's just a whole class of folks, primarily black professionals, males and women, who are being overlooked in what's happening in Detroit.
Yeah. Tell me how you put this list together every year. 50 people. Are they nominated?
Yes. Yes. Okay. They are nominated, and through the years, it came to the point where we give special deference to people who are nominated by other men of excellence. Okay. So actually, I think people think we sit in a room and just start picking people, and that really isn't the case.
That would be impossible.
No, it isn't the case. Actually, we have to cull down, and it's becoming more and more unwieldy every year. Is that right? We have to cull down from like 400 or 500 nominations.
Is that right?
Yes, and it's starting to get to the point even where wives are nominating their husbands. And,
I mean, good thing, right?
It is a very good thing. It's a very good thing. But the excitement in the room when they see their loved one go up there, it's insane. I know you've been to some of the ones before. People just lose their minds.
The event is really cool.
And it's a well-done event. People look forward to it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. And so the process, though, of picking that 50, I mean, with so many people, talk about what are some of the weeder criteria? How are you picking 50 and not the others?
It's really hard. Like I said, we give deference first to men of excellence. So I kind of pull that out, like who's been nominated by a man of excellence before. And then we have to literally go through and read the nomination information, which shows, what they're doing in their career, kind of how they've advanced through their career, and what they're doing in their community. Yeah. That's really important because, it goes to the whole it takes a village thing.
Right, right.
And unfortunately, and I won't even say this is just unique to our community, there are a lot of children who don't have that leadership in their own household. Really true. So it's really important that others, you look out for your neighbor and you look out for your friend's kids. There's a lot of single mothers. So it's important. That whole African American role is just real important in our community to just hold up as many of them as we can and say, look, we see you, you're doing a great job, please continue, and whatever we can do to help, we'd like to do that.
Yeah. And going forward, obviously you're not running out of possibilities.
No,
I would imagine you still have hundreds of people who are deserving.
We do, and actually I see people all the time. I was like, dang it,
I gotta get him next year, right?
He'd have been good. He'd have been good. Yeah, and it's not just even with the Women of Excellence, and even with our 40 Under 40 event, which handles the younger group. At Women of Excellence this year, one of the women in our community that helped me, that really helped me a lot coming through in my career. She said, Cathy, thank you. And it's like, I would not have known about some of these people. She just wouldn't have known, because everybody doesn't toot their horn as well. We all know there's some people that are a lot better at it.
We're busy.
People are working, right?
We're busy working.
But some people are better on Facebook than others. Some
talking about what they're doing.
Talking about what they're doing. So you know, but others are, like you said, they're busy, and you know, I don't have children, unfortunately, but I can't even imagine handling what I handle, and then having
and go home and
handle children as well, you know, because they require so much, you know. So I applaud them. I applaud them.
All right. Congratulations on 10 years.
Thank you.
Congratulations on
Thanks, Stephen.
being named. Thanks for being here.